Welcome to episode 87 of Nobody Special.
In this episode, we talk about calling and Outerworlds.
The Gospel Outpost presents Nobody Special. Hey everyone, welcome to Nobody Special, two nobodies talking about the somebody who matters. I'm Danny, the host and gamer of Nobody Special.
And I'm Caleb, the other host of Nobody Special. This is a podcast where two generations of people talk about God, pop culture, politics, and everything in between, all while not taking any of it too seriously. Hello, Danny.
Hi Caleb, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Guess what month it is?
It's November.
November, happy fall. Oh, hold on.
What? Oh, yeah. Yep. There we go. We got our...
Happy fall.
Happy fall.
Same decorations.
Same decorations.
High budget show right here. Uh-oh, there we go. There we are.
Yeah.
Spared no expense on that prop right there. Caleb, it's November time.
It is.
And you know what that means.
What does it mean, Danny?
It's almost Turkey Day and Birthday Day.
That's true.
Yeah.
Your birthday is...
November.
In November.
26th.
26.
Yeah.
Which I've never been able to celebrate with you.
Never.
Because
yeah,
I'm always
correct.
out of town.
No, it's...
But I mean, I celebrate it with you. I just don't.
Yeah,
on
we
the day.
celebrate in December or something after that.
No, what? No. Don't make me seem like that.
No.
Terrible
I
human being.
tend to celebrate it in December.
Oh, yeah?
Because anytime it's like, do you want to go out to dinner? It's like, I just had Thanksgiving 2 days ago. No, I don't ever want food again. Like, no, I don't want to eat. I want to go to the gym.
Right.
And probably, all right, I had a really good birthday that every time I describe it. Have I talked about this on the podcast?
I don't know.
The really sad birthday I had, it was my 30th birthday. I was alone. We did talk about this. Here's the deal. Chaboy loves him some Red Velvet. And yeah, I really like Red Velvet a lot. And there's this place in North Carolina because Mom and Dad, they were in Montana, and I was in their place for like a month and a half just alone. It was very needed, and I had pre-bought because it's snowing out, and I don't drive 30 minutes in the snow to go to a grocery store up there.
Yeah,
and they had the best Red Velvet muffins. So for my birthday, I made a red velvet muffin, my favorite scrambled eggs.
Yep.
And I put a candle in the muffin. I'm alone. Like I had to work that day at the general store, and I took a picture of it because I was super excited. I had saved this thing for a bit.
Yeah.
And I took a picture of it, posted it on Instagram. And people said, like, are you okay? Like, yeah, I'm having the best 30th birthday.
It's almost on par with Harry Potter drawing his birthday cake in the sand.
I really liked it, though.
Maybe even a bit sadder.
Yeah, but it was good, though. I enjoyed it, so... Yeah. I don't know.
Danny, are you texting people on this podcast?
It's your roommate, but we like Jason. So I think you might want to come over. Anyway, so Kanye, everyone's talking about Kanye.
Yeah.
Even I was talking about Kanye.
Yeah.
I'd say I was talking about Kanye a lot.
Right.
Do you have anything you want to add? I mean, like... Yeah. It's a cool album.
We didn't like put this as a main section because we kind of figured it's already everyone's talked about it. But yeah, I think it's super cool what he's doing, and even he realizes himself that he is still he's a new Christian. And he doesn't know everything yet, but even so, like most of the theology in those songs is on point, and it's just really good to have such a talented music maker create. I'm gonna hate to say this, good Christian rap. Well, did I say it?
I mean, there's some Christian rap that's good.
There is good Christian rap.
I enjoy NF. I just got into NF.
Like, did anyone ever expect to have, like, Kanye-level Christian music?
No.
That's what's crazy about it.
I mean, that's partially
Us Christians are getting spoiled right now.
That's partially the place a good amount of the skepticism coming from is because isn't that the music is of the caliber of Kanye.
Yeah.
It's that Kanye himself is like, I'm a follower of Christ now.
Yeah.
It's like, are you? Because I heard your last album. You know, like,
right.
No, God can
and
get
people
that,
are like,
man.
oh, it's such a dramatic change. I'm like, oh, come on, guys. I mean, like, seriously.
Right.
It's like... I understand being skeptical, but you need to be encouraging.
Right.
But, you know, it's like... It's going to happen. It happens all the time.
The most interesting things I've heard are people saying it's a really good album. It is not his best album. And I'm like, good for him. You know, like, still room to grow. I mean, like,
yeah.
You know, early him, he was, I listened. You know, like,
yeah.
I'm not ashamed to admit that. Actually, the song Gold Digger, there's a there's a friend of mine. I made that her theme song in college.
Wow.
Well, no. Hold on.
Okay,
Don't judge me yet. I mean, judge me a
this.
little bit. She said, I need to go hang outside the med school for a future husband because they're rich.
Wow.
And that's not a paraphrase. That's a quote.
Yeah.
She said that. And so I was like, ooh, I've got the perfect song for that. Should take my money. I'm like, I am not. I'm like, you literally said.
You literally
that is the definition of a gold digger. But I've enjoyed Kanye. I even enjoyed Jesus Walks. There was that odd period in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, and I did put out a blog post on it. Please go check it out if you haven't already.
This is really good. Well done.
And I'm willing to concede that there are some things I had to turn back on. I'm still holding to some of the others, but
we all know the last Kanye episode.
To be fair, I don't want to talk about it. No, so
man.
this is the thing. I just didn't have space in the article to talk about. I think the problem is people are trying to judge him by the criteria of pastor. I mean, as a pastor, it's like, no, he's been a Christian for 6 minutes. He can't, like, you know, there's got to be some kind of a formative process.
He doesn't call himself a pastor.
Right, but he's doing Sunday services.
For his church, he got a pastor, actually, which is cool.
And they're super not a nonprofit, so he can't collect an offering, or it's a crime. You know, like, he can sell merch, though, which, I don't know, whatever. But people there, because he's doing the Sunday services and all that, they're trying to judge him on the standard of pastor, which you can't do. But as I thought about it and kind of had gone through the album, I think like 3-4 times now. It's not that long. It's about
it's 27 minutes.
Yeah, it's the amount of time it takes to watch an episode of The Office. But just to hear his heart behind that, it was, okay, he's not trying to be a pastor, he's trying to be a Christian through the only platform he knows how to do it. And that's create content and do this kind of stuff. And he's doing what he's good at for the glory of God and risking his career in the process. And like, now, all the numbers, though, safe risk.
Very safe risk.
It's doing pretty well, you know?
People are going to like Kanye no matter what. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, right?
But, like, you know, I think it's cool to see that he still has room to, like, he's a baby Christian.
Right.
And, like, not a lot of people are giving him credit for that.
Right.
But yeah, he's still growing, and he acknowledges that himself.
Yeah,
that's what I appreciate. I watched this like 2-hour-long interview.
Yeah, he's being like, very mature about it. But
he's very mature. Like, there's still things you can tell that he needs to work on. But like, we all have
absolutely.
Like, he's never gonna be perfect.
No,
but
neither are we. So like,
Kanye. Welcome to the family.
Welcome to the family, Kanye. I was joking and telling
people. Never thought I'd say that.
Yeah, right. I was joking and told some people, like, give him a break. He's been a Christian for 6 minutes. Like, he's not perfect yet.
Yeah.
Like, all right, man. Other than that, I mean, just on personal news for us, the podcast is going great, and I know there's some new people out there. So thanks for everyone who tunes in.
Yeah.
Tells other people about the show. We really appreciate it. This has been October was a great month.
Yeah. Very
I can't
great.
give you specifics.
Yeah, we're not going to give you specifics.
We're
No, don't say it.
Because I just can't give you specifics because that's not how time works. But no, thanks for everyone who tunes in, for everyone who subscribes, who shares, who on YouTube taps the subscribe and dings the bell. Is that what we're calling it? Did we land on dings the bell?
Dings the bell.
Dings the bell. So thanks everyone. It's been it's been a lot of fun and been encouraging to Caleb and I to just keep going. And I don't think when this started, either of us. I would say I had no to low expectations.
Yeah.
like I'm glad
and
our first episodes
I would say I
weren't
still
on
have
YouTube.
no to low expectations.
I'm glad they didn't see the awkwardness of our first setup.
Yeah.
Or the second setup, or the third setup. We've been through some setups, but both Caleb and I are really glad to be doing this, and this is important to us, even if it is a goof around podcast. Yeah, it's still really important to us. So
right.
And Caleb, that kind of brings us to our calling. Brings us to our question. 87 episodes in, haven't figured out how to read notes yet. Caleb, can you say something while I drink coffee?
Yeah. Okay, so we got a question. We got a question from a listener. Thanks for giving away the free.
Oh, what's it about?
And it's from Catherine. Thank you so much, Catherine.
Yeah, and Kat, thanks for being patient. We didn't want to answer this question because it's more personal, dressed up as Mario and someone from Alien. So it would have taken away from the personal nature of said question.
But here we are now. So I'm going to read this question. Hi, Daniel and Caleb.
What's up?
I have a biblical question for you both. How do we know or find out what God's calling is for your life? And is this phrase basically just used incorrectly or too much? And when did both of you realize your desire to be part of ministry? Thanks, Catherine. P.S. Because I'm forced to only select one of 3 options as to what this email is pertaining to. Just saying hi, biblical question or advice. Here is my added hi. Caleb, glad you're feeling better. Thank you so much.
No.
That means a lot because I felt like dude.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But, I actually thought about doing an ambush again. And then I saw you, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, this is.
Are you okay?
It was past funny is where it was. I'm like, oh no. So, all right, this question, Caleb and I tend to talk a little bit about the questions beforehand. So I know it seems as if our conversation is occasionally unorganized rambling, but it's not. We plan.
Yeah.
So, but this, because of the right? Yeah. I know it sounds like we don't, but we do. I had a feeling about some of the details of this. And Caleb, you're, I don't know, what are you, 19 or 20? I really don't know 19. How old you are. You 19? And I'm 34 for 27 more days, something like that, 28. Yeah, I know. I'm old.
Yeah.
And I just had a feeling where both of ours would kind of end up as far as the answer to this goes. So I was kind of thinking it'd be cool to give the 19 and then the 34 answer as kind of a progression through time.
Yes.
Okay. So Caleb, when did you know that there was a calling to ministry?
To ministry. Okay. I would say, like, I don't know, I've still thought about this. It was gradual. So I'll talk about the first moment where I realized, like, I kind of had an inkling. But I was at it's called Winter Weekend, and I was a student at 1122, and it's this like little 2-day camp basically, and we were like, they asked us to pray about our future and what God had for us, and I was like, I'd prayed that before, of course.
Right.
I've been like, God, what do you want me to do? And, blah, blah, blah.
It's a prayer of every high school guy who's like 16. Like, God, is there a job and who am I going to marry?
Yeah. And it was
come on, guys. We've all prayed that one at
I think
15,
I was like
16.
Yeah, I was like 15. And, but.
God, is she hot?
Much to my surprise, like, typically, I don't really I don't like expect God to answer like right away. You know, I think it's always a gradual thing. I pray for it, of course, but God's gonna answer when He wants to, and I'm fine with that. And but like literally instantly in my head, it was just like, gosh, I can still remember it. It was just like weird because it all popped in my head at the same time, and it wasn't like my thoughts. That was what was crazy. It was just like bam, 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 and it was stay in Jacksonville. No, first it was film. It was literally it was just words. It was film, not just words. It was like stay in Jacksonville, and 11:22. Like for some reason, and I was still important to note. I was new at 11:22. You know, still wasn't sure about my surroundings there, and still growing. And so that was like the three things of just bam, bam, bam. And so I was like, okay. Literally, I think like 2 months after that, bought my first camera. Started goofing around with it. Got an internship. And eventually, I felt God calling me to apply for the film apprenticeship at 11:22. Okay. And so that's when I really started to know. So I applied to that. I was like, okay, let's just, see. I've never worked at a church before. Yeah. So let's see how it goes. Right. And then like, I would say, literally like
working at a church.
4 weeks in, because the point of the, they're open. The point of the apprenticeship. Yeah. While working at a church and while them teaching you ministry and leadership skills. As well as specific training in that area that you applied for, which was film for me. Like, the point is to see if you are called to work at a church. And, like, so I was literally, like, a month in, I was like, yep. Yeah, okay. And, I haven't been able to, and I loved my time there. There's something about, there's this joy in using your skills to create stuff for God, like for no other purpose besides to create it for the church and for the use of the saints. And so like there was just something that sparked inside me. That's kind of when I knew. And so I would say, I don't know how old I was, but
the picture changed at all? I mean, from the starting point to the current point.
To the current point.
I mean, did the ideas or the picture change? Of
I would say not the calling, but like the specific scenario of like where it would be in ministry, which we'll talk about a bit later. But and that's because I ended up this the third thing God called me to stay in Jacksonville, and that's kind of my parents were going to, my dad, he had a job, he was working remotely from Jacksonville, but the company is based in Texas, so my parents were moving to Texas when I graduated high school, so it was either like come with us or stay, find a job and stay. Right.
So that was actually my plan too, was go with you or stay. I think your mom moved, she said like, well, if Caleb's not coming, I have an open room. I was like, hold on. Hold on.
All right.
Bye, Caleb. Yeah. I'm going to go live with your mom.
So basically God, so I talked to 11:22 and I talked to the place where I was interning at, just that video. And God provided a way for me to stay in Jacksonville, literally like months before it was time for my parents to leave, and that was to just that video offering me a full-time job. Yeah, which is sweet. And of course, like there was this strife inside me because like I knew that there was. I was called to ministry, but like it was God saying not yet, and I'm a very impatient person. You know this. You know this very well.
Oh, sorry. No, Caleb, you're the best.
But like, and so I was like,
man, I have mine later. I'm gonna get roasted.
I would say like the first month, I was holding it together. The first like 2 months. Yeah. On the outside, but on the inside, I was just like,
Yeah.
it was tough.
Yeah.
But like I know that now, God's made it clear that this is a time of learning for me,
right,
and training, and I think that that's great, and I enjoy what my job currently. I just said video, and it's not in ministry, and that's fine, but like I know that one day that I will eventually end up there, and I don't know, like I was saying, I don't know what specifically, but
could be in decade, could be
and to answer that question, like I would say it's stayed the same. Like my feelings about it, the passion about it has stayed the same, but like just specifically where, I'm not sure, but yeah.
So
what about you, Danny?
Mine, I'm trying to figure out how much of some parts of it I want to go into. I thought I knew, and now I'm thinking about it. So I first felt quote unquote called in college. I was part of the good part of not having a car in college is you have to walk every place, and that gives a fair amount of time to just pray and think about some things. And it was probably on a walk between church and my dorm that I felt called to ministry. And it wasn't a big thing, but it was a call. It was God kind of speaking, go build my church. And I prayed through that for a long time to figure out, like, God, what do you mean? And the more I prayed about it, the more I came to pastor, church, kind of a ministry type thing. I told this to a few people, not a ton of people, and I don't think I've done it public. I almost dropped out of college before my first class because I had no idea what I wanted to do. I picked a major. Actually, I was a criminology major for 2 weeks because I was going to join the FBI and catch bad guys as a part of counterterrorism. I'm actually still kind of qualified for that because I have a degree. Well, not. I mean, from an education perspective, I'm not a terrible candidate for that. In 29 more days, I will be too old to be a special agent, and I will be mourning the loss of any recruitment dreams I might have. So, sorry, boys, you missed your chance.
All right, Omega.
Whoa, you're not supposed to bleeping that out. We're gonna,
that's
no,
Danny's.
we're not. No, that is a special.
It's a special.
That's a special secret.
Your secret's fine.
Gonna have to. It's okay. I got more. So, I talked to a few people. I came back. I was going to a church at the time. I talked to a few of the pastors there, and they all said, "Go talk to the bishop. It's gonna go great, though. Of course he's gonna say absolutely, all this. Of course they're gonna do that. Sure. I go talk to the bishop. Bishop says like, no, and I'm like, all right, but you might want to talk to your people then, because they all hyped me up coming in here. It's going to go great. You're going to do wonderful. And he stopped and said, no, because I don't think that you've actually prayed through it enough to actually decide this is the thing that you want to do. And he said something that stuck to me even to this day. If I can get you to do anything other than this, if it's possible to do anything else and be happy doing it, go do it. Do not join this if there's any inkling of wanting to do anything else. And I'm like,
right,
you are normally encouraging, but I gotta tell you, my dude, right now this sucks. Like, this really sucks. So I had gone home on a prayer jog. It was more of a walk because whatever. And I was just praying. I was like, God, can I do this? And I mean, sometimes we pray prayers knowing what the answer is going to be. Like, God's going to be like, of course you can, son, you're great. And the answer I got, it was just like, no, you can't, but I can. And I'm like, okay. So I need to take some time, get through college, then apply again. The application process was not fun. It was it was a 99-page life history questionnaire.
Yeah.
Ever been asked a question that the question offends you that you're even being asked? That for 99 pages, like, I am offended that you even asked. It's just a standard form. Still mad.
Yeah.
Like, so anyway.
There's like a slight passive aggressiveness to all of your answers.
So, all right. One of the questions, if you're a kid, just turn it off, whatever. Am I happy about my sex life? That was one of the questions. And I'm like, I'm a single 23. Like, am I can't say no. Well, I mean, like, but I'm not. I mean, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm waiting until
marriage, but of course I would love to be.
I think I just created another checkbox of am waiting until marriage, and then just checked. I'm like, I know what you're asking, but like, I can't say, yeah, no, I'm fine with it. Cause
they're trying to be sneaky about that.
Totally not. But also, I'm not going out there like, anyone, anyone good?
Gosh.
That was as clean as I could make that on the fly. Nailed it. But the idea of calling, though, so why I think this is kind of a wow, I don't know how to say this, and I don't mean this as an insult to the question. The question is kind of funny to me, because
I think Catherine kind of mentioned it in her question a bit. Yeah,
the idea of calling is so different, because my plan, as a sophomore freshman in college, is I was gonna start dating somebody in college, get married after college, be a pastor at a church. I mean, not a lead pastor, but a pastor. By the age of 30.
Yeah.
And no, I didn't make that.
I didn't make it.
I didn't make any of that. And I kept pushing some of those boundaries, like, well, all right, not 25, 26. Then, and at some point, I mean, I had all these ideas of how I thought it was supposed to go, and in truth, God's been keeping me in the dark for a good amount of it. I mean, I've kind of joked and said I'm the Mr. I mean, like, I don't know what I'm doing half the time.
Yeah. And
I feel as if that's a thing most of the biblical characters also feels like. I don't know. I gotta imagine Noah. God told him, like, go build a boat. It's gonna flood in 40 years.
Like what?
Like, so in some days, I'm sure he's up there like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, are the animals gonna come to me, or am I gonna go get them, or what's gonna happen? Like, whatever. But it's gonna flood. And they're like, hey, flood boy, how's your boat?
Yeah.
And that's how a good amount of it has felt. I never thought I would end up in children's ministry, to be honest. And also, I'm kind of digging it right now.
Yeah.
It is. Oh, there's some really just precious stories of small kids telling a Bible passage, or doing the Bible verse with hand emotions I've been teaching them. It's just like. It warms your heart, like, in a really
children.
Yeah, right. It's like, oh, they're so precious. And it's like, oh, they're so. I would really mess someone up to protect you. I mean, it's like, wow. But I never thought I would end up here, and the previous job, I never thought I'd end up there. Actually, the job before that, I never thought I'd end up there. It's just. Some people get the big picture and some people get the next step, and I think I'm kind of a next step guy, and the idea of calling is just kind of, when did I feel called to ministry is just a weird question, because I still if I'm being honest, I still have days like, I don't even know if I should be in this, and I think that's I've heard I'm not the only person who has that feeling. Except for your pastor. He never doubts his calling.
Yeah.
Audience.
Your pastor is great.
Never. Maybe. So, I don't know. There's just a few words in Christianity that I don't enjoy how they're being used. I think.
So let's talk about that. Let's.
I think calling is one of them.
Yeah.
Because.
Well, not calling. Like, I don't have any doubt about calling, but it's.
I guess
to ministry is what my problem is.
Well, can I go back to calling?
Sure, yeah.
I think, sorry, and I'll make it quick. I think people get this idea that calling is, clouds open up. It's like, Danny, you're called. And that's not it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the.
I mean, that's what happened for me, but
doves just like, I'm like, oh, this is the moment. That's just not it. And I think people try and over spiritualize this call to be a thing that if I don't have the burning bush, then I'm not called. And I'm like, but also though, Moses waited 80 years for the burning bush, and he murdered a man first. So, you gotta like.
Yeah.
I mean, don't kill someone, but that might be what it takes. No, it was a good amount of prayer and, just to be honest, some faithful guessing. I mean,
right.
Is that fair?
Pray, guess, go, is what my pastor always says.
Yeah.
And it's just true. Because God is sovereign.
Right.
And
it was prayer and faithful guessing.
You need to just evaluate. You pray,
mm-hmm.
and if there's like no specific answer,
mm-hmm.
you make your decision
mm-hmm.
According to what you think Christ would do.
Right.
Like,
I got to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
You don't stand
still. I got to do
still.
something. Yeah.
And it's
mm-hmm.
and that's to me like the whole called to ministry. And I think we've talked about this a bit on the podcast that everyone's called to ministry. So
right. I mean, that term in Greek is closer to, are you called to service?
Yeah.
So,
and that's all of us. So
well, yeah. Who gets to say nope? Like, not me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think that where me and you were talking about this last night, and it's called the ministry, you know,
mm-hmm.
because it's such this thing in church that it's like
mm-hmm.
ministry is like working at a church,
right?
Or you know,
yeah,
people not even that sure, you know, or some people I think I've heard do you feel called to work at a church? Even that I feel is odd because
it's a better question than the other one, though.
It is a better question, but I hate it because the fact that it splits ways.
It creates a super path.
There's people that work at the church, and then there's the other people. And screw the other people. It's that's kind of what it feels like.
It's almost as if they're communicating. It isn't as holy to have a secular job,
right? And it's just not true because And I think the epiphany that I had last night was there is no called to work at a church and
mm-hmm.
called to a secular job.
Mm-hmm.
There's just calling.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think that this whole thing that churches have started, even my church does it, where they'll pull the students aside and be like, do you feel like you're called to ministry? It's bullcrap.
Camp confessionals.
I see the purpose in it, but God doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
God doesn't see that. It's more of He calls you to a
mm-hmm.
specific area that He wants you to go, and that may be for 5 years or the rest of your life. But it's
and I think part of it comes out of this idea that working in a church is something other than the thing that it is. I mean, to be honest, I've worked in a few churches, and I think I'm up to 5. I don't know. It's not the thing people think it is. People tend to think it's just all of us go and pray all day and churn out a sermon together, and God descends from His throne and stands in our, stands among us, and this and they kind of forget the other aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
That it has to function too.
Yep.
I spend a lot of time emailing people and coordinating people, and then planning and training. That's a good part of it. And the idea of a ministry, in a biblical sense, ministry doesn't take place in the church. It actually takes place outside of it. Mm-hmm. The idea of church is people come in, train, and heal and grow in order to be sent out to do the ministry. The job of the pastor actually is not ministry. It's training.
Yeah. Equipping saints.
In order to do ministry.
Right.
And
that is a ministry in itself. That's like
right. Well,
cool
yeah. But the actual nitty-gritty of a ministry takes place in the mission field.
Yeah.
In these calls to a calling. Wow. No, wait. I don't say half-worded things. I'm just gonna go for it. Asking a 14-year-old to commit to join pastoral ministry, I just think is so vastly irresponsible because they're 14. Give them a minute to figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was gonna gloss that up, and then I realized I really don't have to.
And I do think there are kids who are like, they're like, yeah, sure. I know, and
sure, but
nothing is gonna stop them. But it's like, yeah, and
camp
it's not even
are about as effective as the True Love Waits card. Spoilers, those, it's like 50%.
That's what I appreciated about the camp. That like I kind of figured, out where God wanted me for a period of time. It was like they didn't do that. They're like, pray about where you think God is calling you.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I think that's great because I think this whole like dividing like two separate groups isn't a thing. I think it's
the sacred and the secular.
Not even
Christ
that, but
came
like
in order to bridge that gap.
I think it's oversimplifying it.
Yeah.
Because I think God calls all of us to very specific places.
Right.
And that's it. That's the gist of it.
Keeping a job at a gym is a ministry. And if I don't go into a job thinking this is the ministry that God has given, is that I am the minister to Publix because I'm the Publix employee today. That is a ministry to itself. And to be honest, some of y'all behind the sub counter already doing the Lord's work, and we appreciate it.
Amen.
Not to make, not to downplay everything I just said. But the other kind of term that's kind of connected to that is also missionary.
Yeah.
For kind of the same thing, I get kind of annoyed at the term missionary because it creates this. There are Christians and there are super Christians, and that's not. I get where it comes out of is. In that people are leaving everything behind in order to go to a foreign place, and they do need our support. They do need our help. They do need all this. They need the accountability. They need all that, the prayers, the finances. Sure, absolutely, 100%. But to say this person is a missionary and this person isn't a missionary, I don't really find that to be that scriptural at all. Everyone is called to go and make disciples,
right?
And some people it's going to be in their community, some people it's going to be broader influence, and some people it's in a foreign culture. Yeah. But everybody is called to be the missionary to the place that they're at.
God calls us to specific areas, and that's what is great, and that's why I love the word calling, because He brings us in specific areas, and every single one of them are equal in doing just as much work. It might not be, you might not be preaching to 10,000 people every week. You might just be talking to your parents and who like aren't saved, or you might be talking to that one employee. And it's like it's just so cool to see that God will plan through you basically a rescue mission for even just might not even be the salvation of that person, but it might just be the progression to their salvation. It's a period of time.
The field in order to have seeds planted by another person down the road.
And it might even just be, one person or a ton of people, but it's God calling us to specific areas, and
to be faithful in those areas during the time that it's there. I mean, I've gone over that, and I hate going over this because it feels bragging, and I'm not trying to brag at all. But the whole like podcast stats and web page stats. When this started, the web page, I think the first post got like 3 clicks, and I was so happy. I mean, that was for the week too.
Yeah.
There were days no one was on the site. I wasn't even on it. And just over time being faithful in that. Granted, I've been doing it like 3 years now. Being faithful in that, it's. I think there's a thing to be kind of brought up that God does bless that faithfulness. In being faithful to the thing in place that I'm at. God isn't going to entrust anything beyond that if I can't be faithful to even that small part. So, I mean, as Caleb and I joke about this thing growing, it's partially a joke and partially because we never really thought this would take off to the amount it did.
And it's only because, I think God, for some reason, sees
infinite
value
wisdom.
in this, and is pushing it out there to people for some reason once again. But we're trusting God in that, and
I mean, but that's part of it is in our calling to do this. We or in anything, in film, in any of that, I don't think either of us understood the reach that God's hand could have through any of this. And that's an okay place to be, but to understand that any place both of us are at is a ministry.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I've been intentional about. I'm not just trying to bring up the good things I do. I fail this all the time. If I'm in Publix or anything, getting groceries, I do try and encourage the cashiers there, the other people, just because I know they get screamed at all day for like, why is the milk soggy, or some really weird thing to say. Like, what are you talking about, crazy man? And it, especially customer service jobs, I've been in those. It's not always fun, but I mean, just a difference a smile can make, the impact that can have, that becomes a ministry at that point.
Yeah.
Is to just be Christ to the place I'm at.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I'm the missionary to Publix.
Yeah. And I would love to go back, like, in looking at this, me and you feel called, and it's not like to something. And to put it in more specific terms, like I don't even care that it's like I feel called to work at church. It's not that, I think that I feel called to create content for Christians to consume, and for that to be encouraging to them.
Yep.
And
this thing was founded. I mean, Gospel Outpost, it was founded on that principle.
And to do that through film, and I think that's even like this podcast is why I'm so passionate about this. And I think that's kind of to narrow it down and to kind of put it into terms. That's what I feel called to. And it might not be at a church. It might be at some nonprofit organization or, something like that. But like, that's kind of what I feel called to. What about you?
Yeah.
Put it in terms.
The overall calling that's been consistent in every job I've had since college, it's, well, not job, but all the steps I've taken, it's been teaching and training people to express and live out their faith Monday through Saturday. And people can go to church on a Sunday and check a box, but that's not Christianity. Christianity, that's the place that they go train up and then go out into the mission field. But if they aren't engaging their faith Monday through Saturday, then you're not going to survive. The whole idea of Gospel Outpost is that this is a outpost in the week to be able to come to grow, to be fed, to be encouraged, to be trained up, and in some cases overly convicted, because I'm not the best at saying watered down things. I'm not good at it. I'd say I'm gonna get better, but I'm not gonna try. It's just not gonna happen. Sorry. But that's been the idea, is discipling, training, and all that, and and taking the complex stuff that I got in school and making it accessible to the everyday person. I mean, I have some some cool books I enjoy that I can't, to try and teach that to an 8-year-old, for instance.
Yeah.
I would have to spend so much time, like, hey kids, who wants to learn about inaugural eschatology? No one. Like, that's the real, and no one wants to learn about that except like me and 6 other people.
Yeah.
But there's a joy that I've kind of experienced in growing in faith and understanding theology and all that I think, to be fair, the academic trend has accidentally made kind of inaccessible to break in. Mm-hmm. And I'm starting some projects that I'm not quite super ready to announce, but to bridge that barrier. Yeah. To give the everyday person an opportunity to do that kind of stuff, but also to apply it.
Right.
I know you asked for a summary, and I just gave you 6 minutes. I'm sorry.
That's great.
Yeah. So, oops.
But yeah, that's kind of the point. Is like, me and you, we feel called to specific things that God has called us to, and I don't think that, like, there's not the two groups in my mind. It's just kind of like a place I feel God is calling me to. And I think that's what I would love to see in churches, is them to break down the barriers. Just be like, where's God calling you? It doesn't matter where.
I had to get to a place for a couple of different reasons I don't super want to go into. Sorry about that. That the title had to not be important. That if I'm called to do a thing, all right, the title of pastor. All right, if I'm called to do a thing, I don't need to wait until I'm a pastor, quote unquote, in order to do that. If I'm called to do it, just do it, and do it well, and grow in that, and read big books, train in that. But the title needs to be other people catching up to the thing God has been doing all along. And if I'm waiting on title in order to live out calling, then, to be honest, you don't really deserve the title. There are a few exceptions to that, one of them being a medical doctor. I don't care how many YouTube videos you watch. Give me the degree, buddy.
I won't train him before I let you get anywhere near me.
That's probably the only one I can think of. If God's called you to be a medical doctor, go to school, bum. Don't. No, it's okay. I read a book. I don't care. Get out of here.
And it doesn't even have to be like a job either. Yeah. Like, I think a great example that I like to give is, like, my sister, Noelle. I'm actually wearing her... my brother-in-law, her husband's woodworking shop shirt.
His stuff is amazing.
If you want custom woodworking done, go to twistedsapling.com.
I wonder what the shipping to our Brazilian listeners is going to be.
Only if you're in Jacksonville.
We're going to charge you more.
But anyways,
it's really beautiful, though. I'm not trying to put it down. I just want to say that. Okay.
She is she's not just a stay-at-home mom. She works at a church, actually, where Danny works, part-time. And
if you had asked me, did I ever think I would end up on staff with any of you? I'd be like, no, not at all. So it's been cool. She's baller. Sorry, go ahead. This is aside.
She, is definitely called to be a mom. And if that's staying at home and teaching her children and, shepherding them. And she's amazing at it. There are 3 great children who are crazy, of course, because they're children. Yeah. But they're just awesome.
Well, they're saps and clothes.
But it's like,
I love you guys.
That's where... Like, even in the seemingly small things, that's a huge thing. Because that's going to define their trajectory. But, like...
eternal destinies can be built in this moment.
Yeah, and that is a huge thing. And that's where God has called her to be at a time in her life. And it's cool to see her just step in and own that. And it's like... And that's, like, a great example I love to give, because... like, a seemingly small thing can be a huge thing. And it might not have like this big impact that everyone sees. Because sometimes people think that's important. Everyone needs to see that.
Right.
Like, God used me to save these people.
Jesus literally
Nobody
said the
cares.
opposite, but okay. Like,
like,
don't even tell your right hand what your left hand's doing.
Yeah.
That's how... Do it secretly. It's way more fun.
But, yeah. Go to where God has called you.
Yeah.
And pray and fast if you need to. And, like...
Pray, fast, and guess faithfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
so...
If you even need to be where you are, just do it faithfully.
Yeah.
And treat it as ministry.
I've been playing Xbox a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I've needed it. Whatever. Shut up. Don't judge me. And a game came out that I was really excited about just because it does help through these kinds of decision-making processes. Game called Outerworlds, made by the same people that did Fallout 3 and Fallout 3 New Vegas. And I enjoy...
They not do Fallout 4?
No.
Oh.
No. Oh, no, Bethesda gave Obsidian the boot, and everyone hated Fallout 4 because of it. I actually didn't didn't mind it.
No, not Fallout 4. You're talking about Fallout...
New Vegas.
Wait.
New Vegas and Fallout 3.
Everyone liked Fallout 4, though.
No.
No.
Super no.
No.
Big no. I loved it.
The one that I got you for Christmas was Fallout 4?
The only thing they hated more was Fallout 76.
Oh. No, people love Fallout 4. What are you talking about? They literally think that is one of the greatest games.
No, sir. I love it. It's great.
I love that game too.
I mean, it's great. But these kinds of games, I enjoy them because you almost have to figure out calling in these games. As in, how am I going to play these characters? How am I going to do this?
Right.
And how do I... See, I play through these the first time. I don't play the, I'm going to be chaotic and I'm going to kill everyone. I kind of play through as if I'm as close to me as the options give me the opportunity.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that creates a bit of internal angst in these because I'm trying to figure out calling in this and ethics.
Yeah.
Because I'm having to
ethics.
Make these choices of, do I partner with these people or do I do this? Do I tell the truth? Do I not tell the truth? Do I do this kind of stuff? And how do I handle that? And to be honest, it's kind of a safe place to kind of explore some things and figure out why I'm doing the things I'm doing, to be honest. Because there was a game that ended up at the end, the whole game just ended up being a personality test or something. And it said that I spent too much time trying to ensure everybody is happy and couldn't make difficult choices because of that.
Interesting.
And I was like, hey, screw you, Fable 3. Get out of my head.
Yeah.
I put in 10 extra hours to be sure nobody got affected by anything bad going on. And the game knew that. It's like, yeah, you spent...
Right.
Yeah. And it was kind of like, okay, that's a little revealing. I don't enjoy that. And these games, Outer Worlds, is fantastic, but the first thing that you have to do is figure out which group of people you might condemn to die.
Wow.
Because there's a choice that you have to make or the game won't progress. So the options are, I help these people, or I help these people, or I just stop playing the game.
Yeah.
And that's not...
I'm sure there's some people who are just like,
can't.
All right, $60, not well spent.
Yeah. So I don't know. These games are fun because they give safe places to explore things. I mean,
yeah,
it's odd. I made some choices in there that I was like, I can't believe I'm going to overthrow the government. That's how I felt, and I'm like, oh, that's a weird thing. That's a weird thing. I need to think about why that came up in my head.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely an interesting thing. I mean, even man, I'm trying to think. I like Breath of the Wild. I played,
It's Skyrim. Didn't you play Skyrim?
Skyrim too. Yeah, it's like the same in all of those. But, I mean, you can't really. Skyrim, you can literally do anything.
Right.
Breath of the Wild, you can't hurt civilians. but you can hit them and they go,
much to my trying.
but like, yeah, Skyrim. Yeah. It's, like, it's seriously.
Yeah.
It shows. I'm weird, and I like to just explore the dark side of things. So I joined the Dark Brotherhood, which is like this assassin group.
Right.
And I don't know what that says about me, but yeah, I mean
a lot.
But it's like such an interesting thing.
There's a bishop I knew. He was also an actor, and he said, "No, yeah, the bad guys are way more fun to play." And I was like, "Aren't you a bishop?" He's like, "Well, yeah, but bad guys are more fun to play because if all of us are being honest, that's the thing our flesh wants to do."
Yeah.
So it is more fun because you kind of get to explore that side of you that
without actually
doing
like, terrible things.
and he said that, and
it's kind of terrifying.
Still the same. Like,
that doesn't make me feel great about my choice.
Like, I still don't like it. But, but he's not wrong.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's fun to play the bad guy because deep down, that's a thing all of us struggle through, crucifying the bad guy inside all of us.
Yeah.
And understanding our calling is to not be that guy.
Yeah.
So.
The Outerworlds. I mean, like, the graphics. Not the graphics, but like the style of the game. I love it.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, I've only seen like a couple clips of the game.
Right.
But it's like.
It's very self-aware too. It's a fun game. I'm totally
How long has
digging
it been out? When did it come out?
Like 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Danny. How many hours do you have?
Not
only,
a lot.
Only 30 hours.
No, not that much. Not that much. Probably about 8-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But I enjoy those because I have to think through some things about me in order to play them.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. I think games do give kind of a safe place to think about some things. Now, granted, there's some limitations to that because it's not a real environment, all this. There's only so many options I have. I can't say the thing I'm actually trying to say. I have to pick based on those standards, but also it does give kind of a safe place to experiment a bit, and think through. So especially these games that have spent a good amount of time thinking through the implications of statements and everything else.
Yeah,
they've put time into, okay, if I do this, then this, and this, and this. So, and I did a few things on accident by talking about something I wasn't supposed to talk about. Now people are after me.
Yep.
I'm like, that's a consequence of my actions. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a good game. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, Catherine, thanks for your question. I don't know if we actually answered.
We answered it.
We did it. We
actually did.
Go us. Actually, yeah, we did it. So, Caleb, if any other people have questions, where can they send them to us?
You can go to thegospel.com/nobodyspecial and go to the bottom of the page there, and you'll find a little forum, just like Catherine did, and you can say hi, ask a question, and or do both.
And then also probably the best way to send in questions is to either post a question on our Facebook page of Nobody Special Podcast, or in our Instagram messages of a Nobody Special Podcast. Those definitely get to us better than probably the website until I figure that out.
Just fails
9
sometimes.
out of 10. 9 out of 10.
And it's really odd.
Yeah, I really don't know why. I have to go in and use my MDiv to figure out HTML coding. So
it's like sometimes it'll send it to our spam. Sometimes it won't send it at all.
Yeah, no, it didn't even do that for Catherine's.
Yeah.
Catherine, thank you for posting on our Facebook that you sent us a question, because otherwise we weren't going to get to that at all.
Yeah.
So thank you. It was a good question. Facebook, Instagram, not Twitter. Sorry, Twitter. But
go check us out on YouTube.
Yes.
If you're watching the video, you know what we're talking about.
Why are you
subscribe? Because they can see me pointing.
Oh, okay.
In the video. But they can't hear
not
me
in the audio.
But you just ruined it, so.
I know, I'm sorry. Also, please tell friends, that's the way this show keeps afloat and keeps going, is by the kind word of kind souls such as yourself.
Wow. You really just
laying it on heavy. Yep.
Up.
Really laying it on. So
yeah.
Well,
but once again, if you're new here, thank you for stopping by and listening to us ramble for an hour. And yeah, we love you guys.
Absolutely.
I guess we answered the question.
Yeah. Well, that is going to do it for us today. I'm Danny.
And I'm Caleb.
And we are Nobody Special.